What's going on, Dunce's family? Here we have another episode of the Dunce's podcast. And yes, I am wearing the same clothing from the past three videos, but who cares? We are here with a new video, with a new podcast on all your streaming platforms and also on YouTube. I'm here again with Isandro. And the other day we talked about the Eastern Conference. Well, the other day for you guys, same day for us. We talked about the Eastern Conference and we talked about uh, the level of sustainability that they've had within the past 10 games and where we see some of these teams ending up. Now, we're going to go into the Western Conference. Now, if you guys saw the last video that I did with Jeremy, we talked about the Warriors being 9-1. So now, Isandro, the Warriors are 9-1 as of right now, as of the making of this video. What do you think about them, and do you think they're going to be able to sustain it?
Not at all. It's promising though because they're
Wow.
9-1 and Steph hasn't been great unless we're counting that last game where he went off for 50 and 10. He hasn't been great. I think I thought that he was going to be an MVP front runner. I think he still can be because he'll definitely it's Steph. He heats up during the season.
Wait. He's not your MVP frontrunner right now?
Well, obviously it's KD.
I would
I
say it's
mean,
Curry.
no, because they've only played easy teams, and Curry hasn't been great. His efficiency hasn't been great either for Curry's standards. But KD is averaging 29, 8, and 6 on ridiculous efficiency. I mean, obviously it's KD. And the only other person you can say is Jokic, but people don't want to say that because it's like they didn't want to make him MVP last year, and now it's like, oh, we have other people. Now we can, ignore Jokic again, even though he's been having even
An
just as
even
good
better
of a
season than
even better
yeah, an
season
even
than
better season last
before.
season.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
the standings are great too. So
You
it's
know,
not Curry because of the fact that, the efficiency and the fact that he hasn't really been great. He's been okay, but because of the name, oh, Steph Curry, and also 9-1 against mediocre teams, then that's why people are getting so hyped. But the Nets have been playing. They've been playing some difficult teams, and KD's been, so I feel like once they kick up, KD's still gonna be playing the same. That's when the Nets are gonna really start steamrolling other teams, and then it's gonna be because they've been trying to give KD an MVP for so long. They've been trying to crown him the best player in the league for a minute now. So now that he's actually like, well, I mean, it's KD, but now that the stats are there to back it up, all you need is for the Nets to really rise to the top, and then they're just gonna want to hand him that MVP, in my opinion. Unless Steph, like I
I
said,
still
heats up.
think, I think it's actually opposite. I think Steph is the runner-up right now for MVP, and then the second is KD, only because of the standings. If I'm being honest, that's the only reason. But
It can't
it,
be not against these teams that they're playing, bro. These teams that the
well, I
Warriors are
mean, it's
playing, they're
only
not
10
good.
games. That's why I'm saying. Like, if this is what he sustains for the next whatever 80 games, yeah, I'd give it to Curry over KD. But KD is also the better player, so I don't know. I really don't care because the Nets are so disappointing to me, even though we're 7-4. But whatever. So now let's get into these other teams though in the conference. So I'm not really going to talk about 11 to 15, maybe only Minnesota, because 11 through 15, the Thunder obviously weren't going to be good. The Spurs weren't going to be good. The Rockets weren't going to be good. The Pelicans are definitely not going to be good. The Timberwolves might have something to say about it. But as of right now, I'm going to read you the first four. So we have Warriors at 9-1, Jazz at 7-3, Dallas at 7-3, and Phoenix at 6-3. So Phoenix is actually an interesting team because according to a lot of reports, a lot of teams don't really view them as a threat. They say that last season was a fluke. Most of us, I say, would agree because basically all the teams that they played were injury prone. Now it's a part of the game. Injuries are a part of the game. It's, so if you make it, that's good for you. But there were still a lot of injuries that helped them get there. So with that being said, do you think that the Phoenix Suns will sustain the 6-3 and remain in the fourth seed, or will they pick it up and get up higher, in their conference?
I think that's exactly where they should be because now you have. I don't know if I think the Lakers are really going to kick up, but I also think that Golden State, Utah, and Dallas are better teams, and they're going to be better teams for the foreseeable future. Maybe Denver kicks up too. I don't know. It
Oh, wait,
depends
wait,
on.
wait, wait. Wait, you're saying the Dallas Mavericks have a better overall team than the Suns?
No, right now, and I think they're more built for the reg. I don't know. It depends because I feel like Phoenix, they might be more. Uh, they might have
Playoff.
more of a mind. They might be thinking more about the playoffs,
Mm.
given how last year went. And how they ended up in the second seed, but they still lost in the end. So maybe they might be gearing towards. I mean, look, I mean, we know CP3 still has the talent. I don't think he's been dropped off. He's been dropping off. I just think, and his stats are down. I just think he's being more conservative. He's a little older, so he wants to save what he has, whatever he has left in the tank for the playoffs. They could be in the third or fourth seed. It really depends. You never know because with Denver, their second best player has been Cheeks, and Michael Porter Jr. has not been
Yeah,
living
and
up
he's
to the
injured,
contract.
or I don't know if he's injured or he had COVID or something, but I
Even
know
before
he's
that, though, he was doing
yeah, he was
buns.
trash. He was dog
He was doing
water.
trash. So if
He
he
was
plays like he did last year, we thought he was gonna take a jump, but now
yeah, we
I think
thought he was our MIP, right? That's what we
yeah,
picked.
word,
Yeah, most
exactly.
improved player.
Yeah. But if he can just play to the level he did last year, no jump. We'll settle for what he played like last year. Then they'll be fine. They'll be a three or fourth seed, and then from there, it's really just logistics. If Golden State can keep this up, I think they can. Because Clay's
Yeah.
gonna come back, and there's no way you get worse with Clay. There's
Yeah,
no
that's
way.
actually a question I asked Jeremy. Would it be easy to plug him in? And it's simple. Yeah, it's the easiest transition for him because Klay Thompson is spot up now, especially now that he's been injured for so long. Integrating him and getting him used to this new offense, it would be, basically not, he's not even a new offense. It's just a regular offense for him. So I think he'll be fine in that regard. But I do want to talk about the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are 6-4. John Morant is having the best season of his career. It's in his young career, of course. This is only his third year. Um, what do you feel about John Morant? Is he your most improved player, and will this team be able to sustain it? Even though Jaren Jackson Jr. is playing like dog water, man's is trash, bro. Like he's been so bad. So how do you feel about this Grizzlies team?
They definitely surprised me. Right now, if Ja keeps this up, which there's no reason to believe that he can't, because he just dropped another 30-point game, he's gonna be the MIP. I think they're gonna want to give it to him,
Is there
even
any way
though
he gets MVP?
uh that 100% depends on the standings because I don't know if there'll ever be another D Rose. I don't think there ever is going to be another D Rose. But if we'll see what happens if those exact circumstances are replicated. Because if a young guy comes into the league, he's in his third or fourth season, and he leads his team to the first seed, and especially if Ja does that in the West, if he's a top 2 or 3 seed,
Give him
I
MVP.
can really see him being the MVP if he keeps up these stats, this level of production. But it's a lot to ask. That's the problem. Like, not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody's a D Rose, you know?
Yeah.
So I think I'll just
Andy
settle
Rose
for
had a
calling.
better team back then, and he was in the East.
Well,
Like,
the thing is with D Rose, he had a good team, but he was their offense. And it's the
yeah,
same. I
you're
mean,
right.
I think Ja is he's not their offense, but he is like their main guy, facilitating, scoring. He's doing everything for them on the
Yeah.
offensive side.
Especially
So
now that Dylan Brooks has been out from the
he's been
beginning of the
out.
year. So, and
Exactly, and
that's a second hand man, So
it's the second it's the same thing with D because I'm pretty sure D Rose he had to deal with some injuries to his main guys.
yeah, Ben
If you
Gordon.
remember.
Shout out
Yeah,
Ben Gordon.
yeah.
Oh no, I
So
don't think Ben Gordon was there. It was actually Kyle Korver. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, I get what you mean.
but it was a couple. I think it was a couple guys. So it might be a similar circumstance. We'll see if history repeats itself. I think that's too much to expect with Ja.
Yeah.
I think Ja needs to be Ja. I don't think he needs to try to replicate what other people do. But if he is a top 2 or 3 seed, I can really give it to him. But if not, um, he'll be he'll be up against Miles Bridges for that MIP, which we had
Yeah.
no idea that Miles Bridges was going to be this good.
Yeah, but I still I would give it to Ja, to be honest, because Ja is playing great.
He is.
But
The thing is, like, can he sustain it? Like,
yeah,
I can
absolutely
see
can. Nah,
Miles
he can, he
sustaining it
can.
over
Nah,
because
nah,
right now
nah.
Ja's averaging 27 and 7, and that's harder to sustain than Miles Bridges sustaining a 22 and 5 and 5. You know?
Yeah, but I think Ja can do it because you said it yourself. He's literally the only form of offense. So yeah, I'd say Grizzlies are going to be solid. Maybe not fifth seed, maybe drop down a little bit, but we'll see. But the Clippers and the Kings. This is a topic that we had before we started recording. You say the Clippers are going to be a higher seed than the Kings. I have the Kings a little higher. I know, and I don't really want to talk about Portland because Portland is always going to be, in the middle of the pack. Who cares about Portland? Just get Dame out of there. But Clippers and Kings. Reason why I believe the Kings will be a higher seed than the Clippers is because the Clippers really only have one guy that they can really go to in Paul George because Kawhi is still out. Whereas the Kings, they have a few guys that they can kind of trust. Harrison Barnes has been doing really well. Buddy Hield has been doing great off the bench. De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese haven't been doing so well. So the fact that they're even 5 and 6 is great when those two have been struggling. And Davion Mitchell is one of the best point guards, defensive point guards we've seen in a while. So that's why I believe the Kings are going to have a higher seed. And by higher seed, I just mean they're going to be a 9 seed, and then the Clippers are going to be a 10th. Isandro's saying it's the opposite. But Isandro, tell me why you believe that the Clippers are going to be better than the Kings in standings. I'm not saying that they're going to be better in play-in tournament, but who's going to be like? Why do you think that he's better in the standings?
I feel like the biggest thing is the question that arises, like, are the Kings gonna maintain this? Who's gonna maintain what? Are the Clippers gonna stay trash, or are the Kings gonna stay good? And I just feel like what history has shown us in the past, the Clippers are gonna regress, are gonna improve. They're gonna go back to, they're not gonna be great, but they're gonna not be trash because they've been trash. They've been bad. I can
Horrible.
understand your point of view if they've been trying and they're just not good. There's no quality there. I can 100% understand that, but they have been bad for their standards. But the Kings have been good for their standards. It's not like they're like, oh, we expected
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
It's like, well, they're surprising us. So I just feel like it's more likely that the Clippers are going to not be so trash than the Kings are going to be so good because the Kings have only ever been trash and the Clippers have only ever been good.
Yeah.
There's no way you go from a top 2 seed Western Conference contender to an NBA Finals contender with Kawhi to to barely scraping the bottom of the barrel in the West. There's no way that happens. I can understand there being a drop off, even a significant drop off without Kawhi, because that's just how good of a
Yeah,
player
that's
he
how it
is.
works. Yeah.
But to drop off from like a first or second seed to barely making in a play-in, there's no way one guy's gonna have that big of an impact unless it's
Whoa, whoa,
LeBron
whoa, whoa, whoa,
James.
whoa. Kawhi is a huge impact. That's why they're
He's
not going to
I'm
be a
saying he's
second seed.
amazing. I'm just saying like that's not physically possible to drop off from 1 to 10
Yeah,
unless
bro. What are you talking about? Kawhi
they
is
have
that
Paul
good, bro.
George and they have good
Okay,
players.
okay. They have, but who are the good players, bro? I'm sorry. Reggie Jackson is the only solid guy that I see.
Reggie
Serge
Jackson,
Ibaka
Marcus
has
Morris, Zubac when
Marcus
he's
Morris
not
is
playing
out.
trash.
Ibaka's been out.
Ibaka, no, Ibaka, he's back.
He had like 2 points to the game.
He's all right, but he's back though.
He had 2 points more than me, bro. Please,
All right, bro. All right.
bro. Like,
I feel like you're missing my point.
no, I get what you're saying about the Clippers. That yeah, like not one guy in Kawhi is gonna make a second seed, third seeded Clippers team just because he's out, go all the way back down to 10. But I think that will happen because as great as Paul George is, because Paul George he is the best player on that team, obviously. But it's like Paul George, and then it's Reggie Jackson, and then you got a point guard, and Eric Bledsoe is trash. You got Luke Kennard, who he's very, he's just there, like he's just a player. So I don't know. I don't see that happening. But with the Kings, though, I see a lot of young guys who are hungry and who are eager and who actually want a little taste of something, a little taste of at least a play-in tournament. And I think the Kings have that. So yeah, I'd say the Kings are just slightly better in the might be better in the regular season than the Clippers will be. But I understand your point of view, so I'm not gonna get too mad at it. But just one last question. I don't really want to talk about the Lakers because Lakers we're gonna do a whole video on them another day. Because of the whole Russell Westbrook thing and all that. But they did win yesterday against Charlotte. Great game. But for this team, the Timberwolves, do you really think the Timberwolves have a chance to at least, get some more wins here and there? Because you said it last season when D'Lo, Edwards, and Cat played together, they played pretty well. Do you think that they're gonna be able to, come back up and possibly hit that 10th to ninth spot?
I can definitely see that. I trust them about as much as I trust the Kings. I can see them both being a 10 seed. I mean, you have the Kings in ninth. Um, I feel like they have the talent. There's no way that you have a team with D'Lo, Cat, and Anthony Edwards, and you don't at least make it into the 10th spot because the only other team that's contending for that is the Kings. So, I mean, you don't got the Pelicans; they're trash. You don't got the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the Rockets. They're trying to be trash. And same thing with OKC. Although Shy has taken another leap, not
Told
an
you, man.
MIP level leap,
That's my
obviously.
guy. Yeah.
But he's still been really good. But even then, I feel like they can still beat those teams in the West to that 10th seed more than
Yeah.
the Kings. But it 100% depends on those three guys, because you have 3 guys and you can't make it to the 10th seed. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like they should be able to get it done.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they should be able to as well, but you know, they are the Wolves, so I don't really have much faith in them. But overall, basically, like we said in the last video, you know, who is the most disappointing team for you so far? Besides the Lakers, because again, we're going to talk about the Lakers. So who is the most disappointing team besides the Lakers?
Let me just look at my standings, see who I had versus where they're at. Um,
I can give you one. I'll say the Blazers. Blazers are my
I
disappointing
was
team.
looking at the Blazers. They're not bad, and the thing with me is Damian has been playing horrible, so that's probably why they haven't been as good as they have
Yeah.
been. That's why I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt because they haven't been playing as bad as they should be with Dame being this bad. But we'll see what happens when Dame picks up. We'll see where they're at.
Yeah.
They look like a team built for the regular season, so how they do in the regular season is going to paper over the cracks and make everything look like it's, beautiful and sunny and rosy. And then when the playoffs roll around, we'll really see their true colors. Um,
I would say another team too is New Orleans. And not because I thought that they would do anything, but they've really botched this whole Zion Williamson thing, bro. Like they don't know what they're doing. David Griffin is actually not that good of a GM, and we all thought that he would be. He's been horrible for this team. We got a whole package for Anthony Davis, and let those guys go. So
you
it doesn't look.
Zion looks like he's going to be the first guy to turn down. What was it? Turn down the max rookie.
Yeah, the
I don't
rookie
know. He
max
might. I don't
extension.
think he might because he's been really injury prone and he's north of 300 pounds. So I think he just wants. He might just want to secure the bag because he's gonna have an injury
Or
riddled career and he's gonna have one of those careers that is gonna be like, wow, imagine Zion didn't get injured. He's
nah,
gonna
I
be
don't
one of
think
those
so.
guys.
I think it's gonna be kind of like a Charles Barkley thing where he got fat just to get out of Philadelphia. That's what I think. That's what I think he's doing. I think he wants to just get out of there, get as much as he
Yeah,
can, milk it out, and then
Chuck
leave.
could have been greater than he was. He was a great player if he wasn't so fat
But no, Chuck
because
was still fire though, man.
he
Chuck was
was
nice.
great. He was great. But the thing is, like if he would have taken more better care of himself, he could have made it to the finals a lot more. Especially when they lost to Utah in 6. Like
Or when he was in
he
Phoenix.
should have made that team godly Kareem, with Hakeem and
Yeah, but
Clyde.
okay, but at that point he was older too, though.
He
So
was like
like I can't.
33, and then now
Nah,
this
no, he
he
was like
how old was he?
35. He was like 35, 36. Yeah, he was older. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think that would. I don't think that
I
was
don't
much
know.
of his
Maybe
fault. But he
I
was.
think
Yeah, he
because
was
it's a
fat.
different league now. But players who are 35, 36, they're playing like they're 32. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, back then, no, they didn't have the sports medicine, sports science. But yeah, I say, if of all teams, I think Portland and Pelicans are mine. But Pelicans only because of that whole Zion
Yeah.
situation.
So
But
I want to say Lakers, but not. We're gonna talk about it in the other video. I'm not gonna say Russell Westbrook because it feels like we're just beating it over the head. Um, I want
yeah,
to say it's just because of the other guys and the rotations. For the first few games, Frank Vogel was running DeAndre Jordan. He is not an NBA caliber player anymore. If the
yeah,
Nets have one weakness and he fills that need and they still get rid of him, what does that say?
yeah,
They
he's
don't. If
trash,
they
bro.
then he's not even good enough for them. Like, don't run him, bro. Um, so I feel like it's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of the other players. Other than Melo, they haven't really been getting good production from their bench. Melo's like
Yeah,
carrying that bench.
Melo's
And I don't know if you
cooking,
can.
bro.
He's
Melo's
cooking, but I
cooking.
don't think you can rely on Melo cooking every single night to really get the bench production you
You know,
need.
I would agree with that if Melo wasn't such a prolific scorer back in his day. And right
But the
now,
thing
you
is
know,
not
in
because it's
college,
Mel. The thing is he's getting older and he's not going to be able to keep this up though.
but you never know. You never know. Melo's nice, bro. Like I don't think people give him enough credit. Melo, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. But I don't know. Yeah, we'll talk more about the Lakers another day in another video. But overall, guys, thank you guys for joining. We just wanted to talk a little bit about what we think of both Eastern and Western. If you saw the Eastern video, please if you haven't already, please go check it out now before you watch this, or you watch it after. I really don't care. But yeah, because it's already I'm plugging in at the end of the video. How stupid am I? But please like, subscribe, and hit that like button down below. Shout us out to everybody, your friends, cats, dogs, neighbors, all that crap. I don't care. Just get us out there. We're on Spotify, like I mentioned, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all these podcasting stations, and also on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces. Isandro, have a good night and peace.